is it, the C8. And I'm sure you're wondering at this point, how on earth can such a thing have come out of Holland?
Ah, well, you see, there are two Hollands. One where everyone goes on holiday in a caravan, and there are tulips. And then you've got the other, which is full of drunk Liverpudlians vomiting on Filipino girls.
So, want to guess which part of Holland this is from? Yep, it's an Amsterdammer. And there are other examples of this Dutch schizophrenia as well.
Rembrandt. He was Dutch, and all he ever painted were businessmen in darkened rooms doing accountancy. But Van Gogh was also Dutch, and he went to the south of France and cut his ear off.
So, is this a Rembrandt or a Van Gogh, do you think? Well, I certainly don't see any ears. This, then, is the latest example of Holland's mad side. It's a drug-crazed pornographer with a penchant for euthanasia and a boyfriend. The most amazing thing about it is its interior. I've never seen anything like this before. It's absolutely stunning. The second most amazing thing about it is the price. I sort of thought it would be a million billion, but actually, it's only 134,000, kind of Ferrari money.
The third most amazing fact is that one of the four backers behind the Spiker project is the guy that came up with Big Brother.
And the fourth most amazing thing is that it weighs just 1.2 tons. Because it has the same power output as a Ferrari 360 but only weighs the same as a toaster, it'll get from 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. And on to a top speed of 187. Sounds good too. This is the R8. It's made from a blend of carbon fibre, magnesium and aluminium. It has 2 seats. The engine's in the middle. And it's about as high off the ground as a badger's badger. By any measure, it's a full-on supercar, but so far as I can tell, it doesn't have any of the usual supercar drawbacks. You can see out of it. It's not powered by some V17 quad turbo that does half a mile to the gallon and runs on diced lions. It's actually got the same 4.2-litre V8 that Audi put in the RS4 saloon. And would you listen to it? I am now doing 100 miles an hour, and it sounds like I'm in church. Only I've got more headroom. And how have they done that? How can there be so much space in a car that's so low? How? I can only presume, and this is a revolting thought, I know, that my buttocks are actually kissing the capsize. Naught to 60 takes 4.6 seconds. The top speed is as near as makes no difference, 190. It's not the speed, though, that impresses you most of all. It's the way this thing feels through the corners. Driving most supercars is like trying to manhandle a cow up a back staircase. Smearing honey into Keira Knightley. It may have four-wheel drive, but it never sends more than a third of the power to the front wheels. So you don't really ever get any understeer. It's grip, 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 and then if it does let go, it's just so
got an Aston Martin Vantage with a V12 engine. So what do you think it's going to be like? It is fantastic. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. What it makes me feel, though, is sad. I just can't help thinking that thanks to all sorts of things, the environment, the economy, problems in the Middle East, the relentless war on speed, cars like this will soon be consigned to the history books. I just have this horrible, dreadful feeling that what I'm driving here is an ending. Good night.
The Ferrari F40 had no door handles, no radio and no carpets. The interior was held together with what looked like green bathroom sealant, and the paint was so thin you could see the weave of the carbon fibre through it. All of this made it light, really light. It's only a passenger away from a Lotus Elise. The result is 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, and nothing you've seen here tonight can match that.
The power comes from a twin-turbo V8. It's only a 3-litre, but my God, it goes! And what I love is that when you're on the overrun, just take your foot off the throttle. Listen, at these huge bangs as it just dumps great wads of unburnt fuel into the exhaust for fun. Oh, good bang.
And because there was hardly any weight, it just devours the corners, always hitting the apex.
And when you feel the back end start to go, you can always catch it, because this lady is not for turning.
Sure, it didn't have the amazing power or the sophistication of the McLaren, but the F40 feels lighter and more agile. It feels like a wasp buzzing round a rhinoceros. In fact, I think it's not only better than the McLaren, I think it's better than any of its modern rivals.
Now, at this point, you probably think I've gone completely mad. You're almost certainly wondering how an 18-year-old car with see-through paint, no carpets and a top speed of only 201 could possibly be better than these two.
Well, let me explain.
You see, in a modern supercar, every decision you make has to go through a kind of electronic committee. You put your foot down and the onboard computer says, oh no, hang on a minute, you've got 16 degrees of steering lock on there and too much throttle, we're going to have to get Kofi Annan over, maybe bring Bono in on it, see if we can work through some kind of compromise. It drives you nuts.
In this, there is no electronic overlord. It doesn't even have power steering or traction control.
I've got Francis Pym on the brakes, I've got John Knott on the steering, I've got Keith Joseph on the gearbox. Just a bunch of yes men who do exactly what I tell them to do when I tell them to do it.
Of course, a modern supercar has ceramic brakes and sticky, fat tyres, so you can brake later for corners and then go through them more quickly. Round a track, a modern supercar would be faster than this. But this is so much more fun, because it's just road, seat, arse. The end. This, then, is the £117,000 Gallardo, Lamborghini's idea of being sensible. The wild wings and flared wheel arches of yesteryear are gone. So too have the protruding buttresses. And the complex V12 has been replaced by a 5-litre V10, which is almost economical. And look at this door. Look at that. See, unlike the doors on previous Lamborghinis, it doesn't open outwards and upwards in a scissor dodecahedron fashion like a gull's wing. It's just a door. Inside, things get even more normal. I've got headroom, I've got legroom, I've got air conditioning that actually works. You have to search very hard to find any evidence of Lamboness, but don't worry, because I've found some. The ashtray lid is broken, and although this car has only done 5,000 miles, look at the gear lever. It's been given a certain patina by all those bejewelled Italian fingers. Overall, though, the Gallardo does seem to have cleaned up Lambo's act. They should have called it the Priory. It's easier to drive as well. When you thumped around the track in an old Diablo, it was like bull running in Pamplona, whereas this is more like walking through a field of cows. It's not even slightly scary. Steering's light. When you press the clutch pedal, it's like stepping in some blancmange. And what's more, for the first time ever in a Lamborghini, I can see where I've been. And no prizes for guessing who's garnished it with such a thick veneer of common sense. It was, of course, the Germans. Yep, shock, horror, skid, slide, smoke. Lamborghinis are now made by Audi. Now, I've searched the history books for examples of these two great nations working together in the past, and there really aren't that many. Putting them together is a bit like blending sausages with ice cream, I suppose. In fact, the only time the two nations did work together was in the 1930s, and things didn't turn out well. So, how's it worked this time round? Well, let's see first of all how it compares to the other Ferrari wannabes. There's the Porsche 911 Turbo, the endless thorn in Ferrari's side. and the Aston Martin DB7 Zagato, basically a restyled, power-crazed last hurrah before the DB9 comes along. These cars are very fast, but the Lambo, despite the new one-cal styling, looks like it's going even faster, even when it's standing still. It's no illusion either. With a 0 to 60 time of 4.3 seconds and a top speed of 192, the Gallardo blitzes the Porsche and the Aston. And with 100 brake horsepower more than you get in a Ferrari 360, it nukes that too. It seems then that the German-Italian alliance has been a success with this car. And we haven't even got to the best bit yet. The handling. This is where a Ferrari 360 gets tricky. Drive too fast round a bend in it, and it turns into a small dog, spinning round your legs and wagging its tail. This is in a different class. This is epic. It's like a big Lotus Elise. This is the first four-wheel drive car I've ever driven that has no understeer at all. It is fantastic. Turn in, oh, that is lightning reactions. It changes direction like a fly. I wanted to hate the Gallardo. I wanted to say that Lambo had sold its soul to the devil and ended up with a glorified Audi TT. But it's wonderful. Except for exactly the same thing that nailed the Bentley Continental in last week's programme. The problem is, they've got rid of the Lamborghini idiocy, but some of the magic has gone as well. Some of the X factor that makes a car special. Let me put it this way. There are many children's stories. Mog, Kipper, Spot, the famous Seven, the Secret Five, Paddington the Pooh, Bob the Tank Engine, Thomas the Builder. But there's only one Harry Potter. There's only one Ferrari too. And this isn't it.